All right, who here drove a car to school today? Jack, since you're up front, about how many miles does it take to get from your house to the school? Just approximately.
About maybe
9 miles one way. Okay, maybe 12. And how many days per week do you come to school?
3 days.
3 days. So that's, let's say, 18 miles one way and back. 18 times 3, that's a big number. That's a lot of gas, right?
Yeah,
Have you ever thought about solar power cars? Or have you even heard of them?
I have heard about it. But I don't
Okay.
know about it.
You have thought about it. All right, well, I'm glad you're interested in the topic. I'm going to talk more about that later. But first, I got to start with the basics. There are 3 fossil fuels. We have oil, natural gas, and coal. Now, these fuels were formed millions of years ago when plants and animals died and were buried underneath the ground. These resources are finite. That means that they are non-renewable, non-replenishable. Once we use them, they're gone. According to a Catherine Senior, who has a PhD in carbon emissions, natural gas is estimated to only last us for about another 50 years. Oil, which is much more scarce and frequently used, it is said that the world can only produce about another 800 million barrels, half of that being in the Middle East. So that should last us anywhere from 2025 to 2070. Now, coal, on the other hand, is still very abundant. There's still many untapped sources in coal. For instance, the UK still has a lot of virgin ground. Now, this may seem like we still have a lot of time with fossil fuels, but the reality is that the quicker we get adjusted to renewable resources, the smoother the transition will be. I'm sure you don't want to wake up one day and find yourself stuck because you can't get to work because there's no more gas to fill your car. Today, America runs on 90% fossil fuels, only 10% on other resources. Less than 1/10 of that energy used is solar, says a Jeffrey Coleman from energy.gov. Now, so this change hasn't happened yet, and we rely on fossil fuels very much. Now, with that being said, don't you think it's time that we put a little more pep in our step, make this matter a little urgent? Start funding maybe more researchers to help improve our technologies like solar energy, for example, make it more efficient. I truly believe that solar energy could be there single-handedly a solution to our energy crisis. It is by far the cleanest and most abundant source out there, and we've only just scratched the surface on how to harness it. Now, going back to the solar cars. According to the Venturi Astrolab, as photovoltaic cells become more efficient, solar cars are starting to creep into the market. Now, solar cars are powered by photovoltaic cells, PV cells. What that means is that they are built from semiconducting materials like silicon. Silicon has this trait where it reacts with sunlight by releasing electrons. The motion of these electrons creates an electrical current, and this is called the photovoltaic effect. Now, this all might sound a little too easy. You get some sunlight, move some electrons around, start the engine, and you go. But that's the point. It's supposed to be that simple. Now, the reason you don't see solar cars every day is because these PV cells are still very underdeveloped. It's a fairly new technology, and it's still in the works. Now I'm going to jump to a new topic, solar panels. According to Tyler Lacoma, who wrote an extensive article on solar panels on eHow, the general rule is $6 to $9 per watt per square foot that solar panel generates. Now, typically, solar panels can generate 10 to 13 watts per square foot. That means in perfect conditions, 1 square foot of solar paneling should conduct 13 watts per hour. Now, my house actually just got solar panels installed less than a month ago. Now, unfortunately, we're still waiting for the We're still waiting for someone to come and check it out, so we can't use it quite yet. But I'm going to share some facts with you. Now, we got 1,144 square feet of solar panels. Before they put the solar panels on, they first have to determine which parts of your roof get the most sunlight. So they put monitors all over your roof, and they calculate how much sunlight throughout a period of time. Now, with the data from the monitors and the square footage of your solar panels, they determine how much your annual production should be. Each year, we should generate 14,397 kilowatts. Now, let's break that into months, divide that by 12. It's 199.75, we're gonna call that 1,200 kilowatts. Now, here, I have our most recent energy bill from PECO. In this last month, my family used 2,181 kilowatts.
Looks like a teacher.
Let's subtract that from the 1,200 that we generate in 1 month. We're only paying for 981 kilowatts. Now, the price for this bill was $315. $315 for 2,181 kilowatts. So that's 55% of that. So when you do 55% of 315, you get 173.25. That's less than half off on our energy bill. That's a lot, wouldn't you say? Now, the boys at Solar Tech, who installed our panels, they went through the trouble of giving us a graph on how long it will take before our investment has been paid off. Now, let me tell you, to install 1,144 square feet of solar panels, it cost us a whopping $68,640. Now, in this graph, the chart below is a summary of the net cash you can expect over time. Net cash is the total cash of all costs are reduced by financial incentives, annual utility savings, and tax effects. Cash flow break even is where the chart crosses the 0 point and is when your investment has paid itself back in cash. Now you can see that just under 5 years, we will have paid off our $68,000 investment. And after that, it's free money, baby. You wait for that hot summer day, just watch the cash come in. We took it into more depth, put some numbers into it. This goes in with the PA State Sunshine Rebate, which is if a house generates more electricity than it can use, you can sell it back to PECO for a profit. Pennsylvania SREC market, federal tax credit, utility savings. With all this into consideration, on the 5th year, we should break even with $928. Now, up here they even have some fun facts for you, like greenhouse gas saved, CO2, carbon dioxide, how much would have been spent if this was not renewable. In a 25-year system, we would have saved 295 tons of CO2. That's equal to driving 590,000 miles in a car. The limitations, there are no limitations for solar energy. I urge you all to consider solar energy. Now, keep in mind that solar technology is still very expensive, so it would be wise to save money, but at least have it in your plans. Make room for solar technology next time you make a big investment like a house or a car or anything that can have solar power incorporated with it. This is a very urgent matter, folks. The energy crisis is among us, but don't worry.